This is Gazbot Toy Shot. What do we got? Well, I went to the De Anza flea market, which is sort of sponsored by the college. I forget what town it's in. I want to say Alameda, or if it's near Alameda at the very least. Had a better luck there than I usually do. Saw a lot of Power Rangers figures, a lot of Star Wars figures, and a lot of them in not great condition, a lot of them overpriced. But this is probably the best figure I saw there as far as Power Rangers at least. This is SPD, this is the American version. Got some nice chrome. Again, doesn't have his weapon. Did I pay $3? No, I paid $2. He had said the Power Ranger figures were $3, and I was kind of like, nah. He said, okay, $2, because it was the end of the day. So this guy's a little scraped up, but chromey good. Joints are all nice and tight. I was happy with him. For $2, no brainer. I also grabbed Operation Overdrive Red. Same vendor, same price. In decent shape. He kind of has hands that are out like he's meant to drive or something, but he's not too bad. Kind of a little bit regret getting this one because I have the vinyl of this figure also in the powered up armor chest mode, so I kind of didn't need him. It was more just, it was a good price. He has no scratches, he's tight, you know. I thought maybe I could trade him to my friend who also collects Power Rangers, although he has an Overdrive Red and he doesn't like Overdrive, so you know, he might end up getting taken out of the collection and resold at some point. But these were two of the better condition figures I saw. They're also what I call vanilla, because the guy had a lot of figures that were in decent shape, but the kind that have like a cannon for an arm, or legs that have jets on them that aren't really from the show. And while sometimes toys like that I could go for, most of the time I prefer a toy that is representative of the character in the show. And if I'm gonna get one of those over top figures, it better have a cool action feature and have the parts, because like these would have like a big missile arm, but it's just holes and missing pieces because it doesn't have the weapon, so it just looks like they're incomplete. So they're terrible. Anyway, those are the only two Rangers I picked up. What I also got, though, and this was kind of a cool piece, this is the Vera Tank. Now, I've been watching Sentai. I've seen more Power Rangers than Sentai, but I'm kind of catching up on both as, you know, I'm American, so Sentai I haven't seen, and I'm a little bit too old for the average Power Rangers demographic, so I've kind of been getting into it as an adult more, which is odd, but it's a lot of fun. It's like a cool universe to invest in. But anyway, this is from Go Ranger. Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, which is the very first Super Sentai, which is what Power Rangers is based on. But Power Rangers started basing their shows off of Kyoryu Sentai Zoo Ranger, which I think was like the 16th or 17th year of Super Sentai in Japan. So this was, you know, the first Japanese one. It's the godfather of Power Rangers, the godfather of Sentai. And it didn't have an American counterpart. Now, that being said, this toy was released in America under the Shogun Warriors imprint, which is most people know for the big jumbo machinders like of Mazinger and Guy King and guys like that. But this was the Papinica, I think it was. I'm probably mispronouncing that, where they were die cast. This is not the American version. This is the Japanese version. You can tell, the main way you could tell is that these pieces here were yellow as opposed to chrome. Now this chrome is worn, but it's silver with like clear showing through. And it's missing its missiles were in here, but it also has Japanese writing on the bottom. But like I said, the easiest way is that these are silver instead of yellow, which makes this more valuable, not by a ton. This one's in good shape. It's tight. You know, all the pieces work and everything. And like I said, I've been watching Go Ranger, so it's like, oh, like what are the chances of seeing this Japanese toy from this 70s show that I'm watching currently, finding this at the flea market. So I was pretty psyched. They also had the Vera Dorin, I believe, which the Vera Balloon is the one I've seen. I'm only halfway through the season, so I guess they get that later. They don't have the tank yet where I've seen, but I thought this was a cool toy regardless. The fact that it's connected to the show made it even better. The fact that it's the Japanese version is great, but I didn't realize that until later, so that was kind of a bonus. They were asking $20 for it. I said, would you take $15? They said yes. I've gone on a few tour boards and looked on eBay, and it seems like I got it for a decent price. I didn't rip the guy off, but, you know, between 10 and 20 is a decent price. Anything over 20 starts to be questionable, so 15 is like the low end of fair, so I was happy with that. I think at the Vera Dorin, it was a little bit less, it was also missing missiles and stuff, but it looked less complete without the missiles. It was noticeable. And this, I have the SH Figure Arts Aka Ranger, which is the Go Ranger guy. Which obviously this is not in scale to him, but I'll put it next to him on my shelf and it'll look pretty cool. What else? Later on that same week, I went back to Toy Safari, which I've talked about before, which is in Alameda. Digging through the bins, I didn't find a Ranger I wanted, but I found this. This is an American Morpher, which would be a Henshin device in Super Sentai, so it's the American one. I'm starting to get quite a little collection of Henshin devices, both Japanese and American, which started with the Legacy Mighty Morphin Morpher. So this is from Overdrive, which I haven't watched, and my one friend, Alex, who's like my main Power Ranger Sentai friend, he's watched more than I have, and he hates Overdrive. And I love that I kind of almost love Overdrive, having never even seen it just because he hates it so much. But this thing I got for $7. It wasn't working, and I asked if I could try some different batteries in it. So we swapped batteries. It worked. She said I could keep the batteries. So $7 with the batteries, a total win. Because not only is it just like, you know, a good thing to add to my collection, but the light and sound are great. This is, oh, I should turn it on, huh? So like the normal morphing, you get it going, and then you slide it. And that's the transformation. It's got the light on the front. It's got this light on the side, which is like a UV light that can detect like spy writing, like if you have an invisible pen. It's got like that. Then you have to hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then spin that. It's got like a lot of playability. I've had this on my desk since I got it, and I play with it almost every day. It's just a lot of fun to mess around with. And from what I've read, regardless of people's opinions on this season or the figures or whatever, it's a season where typically the Bandai America imports of the Japanese versions are inferior. They're smaller, they have less electronics, they have less paint, whatever. They're always just like the cheaper version. But for some reason this season, we're not inferior. These were some of the better versions of the American, so I kind of lucked out getting it. And also, the normal version is sort of gray. I have this red clear version, which is the, I believe it's called the Turbo Edition. So this is the rarer one. Now, I don't know exactly what it goes for. I paid $7. I've seen it for $50, but I think that's crazy overpriced. I think $20, $25 is more of a realistic price, maybe even less than that. Regardless, I definitely got a good deal. And if I had played it and opened it up and tried it out, I'd probably pay 10 or 15. Having just sort of bought it at the store, just knowing that it worked for $7, very happy with this. Went to Toys R Us, and I got these. These are what were either, these are the Dino Charge batteries with the gold casing, which is the only one that I'm aware of that has the gold casing. Usually they have a clear or a silver. There was a black one that was a giveaway at San Diego Comic-Con. This has the Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the gold casing. And the only ways previously to get these were if you got the Dino Charge battery pack from San Diego Comic-Con, you got a coupon to get a free one at Toys R Us, which I had done, so I already had one. Or they had a promotion for a week or so that if you bought like $20 worth of Power Ranger stuff, you can get one free. I had a hard time getting my free one because everybody seemed to be out. I went into a Toys R Us, these were on a rack with like 10 of them, and they were selling them for $5 each, and I was torn because I couldn't tell. $5 seems like a bit of a ripoff for one, but it is like this exclusive thing, and I was torn between, is this a ripoff, or is this like a gold mine of, you know, expensive, rare, hard to find batteries? So I bought two. I already had one, but I opened it up and put it in my box. Look how short I get when I sit on the floor. I'll do this. Hey, look, you can see me. I had one that I put in my box because there's a slot for it on the Dino Charge that you get from San Diego Comic-Con. So I kind of wanted one to either have on my shelf or have sealed or whatever. So I kind of bought one just to have. Bought an extra in case my friend needed it or to sell eventually. It just, you know. So I'm still not sure if this was a great purchase or not. I don't horribly regret it, and I have the receipt so I could return them. But it's just weird that it went from a freebie that was hard to find to $5. Here's a stack of them. Toy collecting's weird. Anyway, this has been Gazbot with Gaz Shot.